Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript party and my buddy Rhett back there. She was pretty quiet in the last video, but the last video was my 3GS video where all I did was a bunch of interface updates and stuff like that. It was pretty boring, and so I think she lets me know that was a boring video. So I think in the last video we fixed a bug. Um, yeah, so we just added some code and all that. And I have found that it's kind of a good sign that if like as you start to move forward, if the bug fixes get smaller and smaller and more impactful, that's kind of a sign that you're on the right path. A lot of times you'll see bug fixes as they become like as you keep doing more bugs, the number of lines of code that change to fix the bug grows, and that is, I think, a very bad sign. So I don't know. People like things like that. But anyway, so we're gonna do a git add, and it's kind of funny. I at the last video was video 66, and that's where I fixed it. But I guess I'm demonstrating committing it in video 67, so I guess this is a 67. And I guess this video is a little more interesting than the last video because now Rhett has something to say. Git commit dash m. Let's see, video 67 bug fix for discrete listing. And then we'll just close that up and we'll hit enter and we'll go ahead and push that bad boy. All right, so we are good. We're good in the neighborhood. So the next thing we want to do, so basically, let's try Watt. Watt. So it's pretty, so whatever, why, for some reason, this now works. You guys saw if you looked at the previous few videos, last video it worked, but I believe in earlier videos, if I said Watt, all the logs would come back, but there would be no results and all that. But anyway, so we see that I said Watt and it has a count of 7. Um, so, and it is interesting. Like, did it get fixed because of us, right? Because of this video? Like, did somebody see this video and then, like, somebody tell somebody and somebody tell somebody else and somebody tell somebody else, or like, did a lot of people run into this problem at the same time? What's a very Watt? A lot of people in the Northeast say Watt, and they're probably not the only ones. And they were getting weird results. And anyways, let's move forward. Okay, so what we want is like to be able to mouse over this and see like some sort of like some sort of list of the other values that came over. So there's a lot of things. I mean, that is a lot harder than it sounds. Um, but the first thing we have to do is we have to, over the number, we have to determine where that number is, right? So normally what I'll do, I'm usually not as familiar with the code as I am with this code. Thank you, Rhett. That's some good feedback. Uh, I always know I'm on the right track. On the right track when Rhett decides to get animated. Okay, so that's good. When red, um, so we have question marks around that, so we know that this is the right thing. So we're going to want to add some sort of div to attach a event handler to. So, and div wasn't the right word. What we want to add is some kind of element to attach an event handler. And we really want to give the user an indication that they can do something here. Now, when I first started working on web stuff professionally, which was like, I believe it was 1999. I first started doing web stuff in 1996, and I first got my first job in 1999. I believe 1996 is the year that Bill Gates said that the web was just a fad. So, you know, they're really in, and I lived like in rural northwest Florida at the time. So there just wasn't much web work. It was, you know, no one was sure what was going to happen. But you used to have to put some sort of visual indicator that would like let people know that something was clickable. But now people just naturally just start moving their hands all around, moving their mouse all around everything and checking to see if there's a if it turns into an hand. So basically, just making it a hand is good enough. So let's go ahead and let's give this a class, and it's a class of count. And then let's go into our its sibling style sheet, and let's just go ahead and add a rule selector. I guess that's a selector for class count, not class. And this is a rule that says any that the um, hover. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I've literally done this a million times. Cursor. I think it is pointer. There was a while when Microsoft was fighting hard to make it hand, like hand, and I don't know why that lost, because that actually I think makes more sense than pointer. But anyways, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, see. That is weird. I would think that is a pointer, and that is a finger, a hand, uh, something like that. But this is a pointer, and I guess I could see it. But anyways, so now like you could, most people will just naturally kind of click over there. I don't know. You could also add like a text decorator so that people, um, you know, like you could make it underlined so people know it's clickable. I think this is good enough though. This is just a tool. Um, the lift to make this turn into a hand is pretty simple. So that was the first thing. We added a class. We added an element, an HTML element called span. We added a class called count. Generally, when I have one thing like this, I will, and I don't foresee a second thing coming, I will put this on one line. If I believe there's going to be more things, I'll do this. And then I will move this onto its own. And basically, I believe hover is the name. No? Over. Mouse over. And then you're, so this is saying, hey, I want you to, there's a specific word for it, but you want to bind the mouse over behavior to a function. So normally in English, we will say when we fuse two words together, we will say its descriptor, something that describes it, the adjective of it, and then we'll say the verb, or so the adverb of it, and then we'll say this. So count mouse over. And in JavaScript, in Angular, you put this, which is kind of a little weird, and you don't do that in regular JavaScript, and you do that in Angular, and it is a bit confusing because generally when you have this there, that means, hey, we're going to actually execute it, but that does not mean that. So I will generally save at this point, even though I don't really like it having an error down there. So now we're going to add a function, and we're going to add it under the constructor. So count mouse. I can't remember if I made that a capital letter. this is not going to return anything. And actually it tells me up there. Yeah, okay, so I did make it. I think that's camel case since the first one is lower. I think if the C was capital, then it would be Pascal case. But this, let's just go ahead and put a finalize that. I kind of would rather start a new one, but anyways, is that camel or Pascal case? Camel case. Yeah, that's what I thought. And the way I always try to remember that is, you know, is like imagining the camel drinking water. So his head is down here, and then he has his humps behind him. And then Pascal case, I just realized that that's not camel case because I don't really know why it's called Pascal case. Let's ask that. Why is it called? It's going to be interesting to see how long we have access to these sorts of things, you know, like, and then if it'd be worth paying. Oh, so there was a language called Pascal. Had so they, so I don't know if it was required. Yeah. So, anyways, apparently there used to be a language, and I wonder if Pascal case. Um, question mark. Okay, I've gotten boring now because Rhett has gotten quiet. Um, no, okay, so it was just a convention from Pascal. All right, that's good to know. Don't know why it's good to know, but it's good to know. All right, so I always, even though it seems like a waste of time, I always sort of just validate that that everything is wired up. Count mouse over. I actually have recently started doing a little bit of coding in Microsoft Word, like because they have like a JavaScript thing where you can have little panels and stuff. And I was very disappointed that they disabled console log in that. Um, yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Anyways, so it's weird where I said anyways and then hello. See, it says like, so I said anyways, so I was expecting to have like a bunch of them and then like Z's and some of them and stuff like that. But see, it doesn't. And then for hello, it's got like 5 count, which if I remember correctly, that means that it's going to be like hello and then hello with 2 O's and hello with 3 O's and all that. And that will be nice to see, um, be able to just click on this and see what they were. Um, but as you see, we are mousing over and we are getting our console log. So that is good. So now we have sort of a, it's all, this is always a hard thing for me. Like, do we want to have like just like a div on the page that is just like hit, like always has, that is always being populated, and then it just gets displayed maybe just to the right of the thing, or do we want to go down the whole Angular material doing like a dialogue that takes over everything? Now, if this was a professional enterprise application, I would definitely advocate for doing the material. And the reason is because with the material you get like all, it's fairly easy to set up all the tabbing and basically making, like when you click, making all that stuff like available 508 compliance, all that kind of stuff is a lot easier to do than when you're trying to roll your own. But since this is literally just a an analysis tool that is not really made for, like literally is just a learning tool for me specifically. I'm the only one who's supposed to learn off of this, and whoever watches these videos. But it's just for me to kind of get a strong understanding of what's going on, and then of how these things work, and then it's a tool for in the future when I, if I actually build an application, which I fully intend to do, that uses these technologies, and those break because now we've gone from WebKit to regular and things like that. So I can go back and maybe watch these videos or play with this tool and figure out what in the world just got changed from underneath me and just broke everything. Um, so, anyways, I think in this case, I'm going to just make it where I have a div and the div is absolutely positioned and it's always just kind of hanging out to the right of the mouse. So, anytime you're moving around, this thing is hanging out, but it's displayed if you click, I mean, if you mouse over, that it changes from hidden, from visibility equals none to um, to displayed, and then if you click it, it stays on displayed even if you mouse off. Then and then it will only mouse off if maybe it'll have like a little X in its corner. If you, it'll only start go back into the normal behavior if you click the little X. I think that is going to work really well for this specific thing. But I, like I said, this is if you actually need to do this for professional, especially if it's customer facing or open to the public, you definitely should use something that's more along the lines of an Angular material dialog box. Um, if it's for an internal tool, for that only a small number of like highly technical developers will use, then you know you might be able to get away with this, and that's assuming it's like kind of a small team and you're not gonna want to sort of open this. Like I've never met a blind developer or someone like that, somebody that uses the usability things, but like you would, it is so like writing a tool for this tool for that was probably like, especially if it was for internal, a small internal team, probably is a lot of effort that nobody will ever benefit from. So you'd be better off writing other features. Um, but like if it's like something that like just, you know, people would want to use that are particularly blind people, um, then, you know, it really is a good idea to use those tools. Um, because, you know, what I'm going to want, what you would really want is like when they were over here and then they clicked on this, like they found out, like they would have their eyes, you know, they wouldn't be able to see a thing and they'd be like, um, you know, tab, and then it reads, and oh, okay, and then they go, okay, click, and then it pops open, and you want the mouse to just automatically go to the first place and all that. Like that stuff, setting that stuff is just way easier in Angular material. Um, so, um, but you know, like I said, I don't think it makes sense to do right now for this tool. So, anyways, so I'm going to add a div here, and I think it makes sense to put it inside. Let me just do this, inspect, because I haven't looked at the console log on this thing in so long. So let me hit refresh. Hello. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we don't have any like that. I just hate that expression change before errors at this point. You know, I always like to look into that. But anyway, so we're going to have a div here. And this is count results. Yeah. So and what we're going to do is, I think at this point, all I'm going to do is put the, I'm just going to put hello. Okay. So step one, so we should see nothing, nothing, and then we have our hello. Okay, so now I want this count results to be hidden by default. And I actually want it to be visibility. Okay, I want it to be position, absolute, and visibility is hidden. Let's go ahead and move this in a little bit. And I don't know why that didn't take. So it didn't see it as a change. Hello. Okay, so you can't see it now and all that. Now what I want to do is on the mouse over, I want to add a class to it. All right, so I'm going to get rid of both of these. I'm going to actually comment them out just so we can see, so we'll be able to watch it. And then I'm going to I believe it's how do you use ng class in Angular 19? I think that it is changed, but maybe not. Okay, so maybe it's the same. Okay, so now I have two things, so I'm going to move this onto its own line. And I know it's getting old, me just explaining this over and over again, but I'm doing it more for me than for you. So the problem is that when you don't if they're on the same line and somebody needs to add a class here, but somebody else needs to make a change here, they will have a get conflict that is extremely difficult to determine. It's much harder to determine if there was a change that actually affects you, especially if there's multiple changes. I want to be able to see, like, if somebody added a new class to this class list, that they did that, and then if they made a change down here, that they did that. I want to see if if I do have a conflict, what they are. So it is not happy with this, and I'm guessing because I needed to import something. Position. So I'm seeing an error. Ng class is not a known property, and I think I have to import something called common up here. Common module. Let's see if that problem goes away. Yeah. So now if I say true here, and then I go back over here and I look. Hi. So I do an inspect. You would notice that Oh, so, oh yeah, I have dynamic class as one of the classes that's in here. And if I change this to false, hi there. You know, so we do not have a dynamic class. Okay, so uh, I'm just gonna make this show true, and I just want to make sure. Well, let's just go with show equals false. And then up in here, there's a couple steps on this thing. So I'm gonna say okay, so by default it should show. It should be visibility is equal to, I believe none is the visibility is equal to, oh, visible. So by default, it's going to be visible. No, it should be hidden by default. And then I believe if we put an and here, show, then visibility is equal to visible. All right, so hi. Okay, so if we do an inspect here, we should see our show. Let's keep on going. Yeah, here we go. So we're seeing that it is hidden, and that's because it does not have the show. So now if we change this to true, then what happens is that this happens, and it thinks there's 5 different things. Man, I cannot wait till we can mouse over and see what's going on. But if we look over here, we're looking for our hello. Hello. Oh, here it is. So you see it show is in there. So basically, I want to create a variable, a component attribute called show results. And so now we're going to come over here and we're going to create a show results. Equals false. And then we're going to come in here and we're going to say this dot show results is equal to true. So basically, in effect, what will happen is once they've moused over, it's going to get a true, and it's going to get this, and then that's it. So that's it. That's it. And we get it. So now we really want to do the mouse off, right? I believe it's off, mouse off. I'm going to type off, out. Maybe it's out. Yep, mouse out. You know, I was kind of thinking that, like, I've worked in a lot of places where all you have is a mouse over thing, and when you mouse off, you have it like goes away, and man, that can be a real pain in the butt if you're trying to do like a screen cap or something like that, trying to copy what's in there. So So, thinks there's 7 different things. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So that is good. We are probably pretty long. Yeah, 30 minutes. That's pretty long for a video like this. So the next step will be to get this thing to move and be right next to wherever the the mouse the pointer is, the cursor. Now what I'll probably have it do is actually follow the cursor no matter where it goes. It's just whether it's visible or not. I'll just build the like I think we can up here. Um, we can put a div around this and then just say anything that's, if they're moving around inside this div, follow, have this guy follow it around. And I don't know, right now actually it'd be very interesting to see this table. So this table is not, yeah, so, but I believe if we put a div around there, we kind of need, we don't really want to lose, well, we don't want we want the div to show, even if it is in, we want this div to show even if it's outside. So like to ensure that, I'll add another div here. And then what we'll do is we'll add an on mouse move event. So we have mouse over, we'll have on mouse move event that basically just has this thing follow it around in there. And that will be for next time. Just did not want to have to deal with, try to remember that. Remember that, and it thinks there's 6 things. We probably want to actually make this div like have a min height so that, yeah, I don't know. That is kind of the downside to, one of the downsides to this sort of mechanism is that, like, well, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if it shows. I guess it'll just depend. It should show up. So I'm just going to have it to the right, and to the bottom. So that means it could be a problem if we're all the way over here, because, you know, it could be cut off by the edge and you'll not be able to see it. I'm not worried about that edge case. But that is one of the major benefits to having like a dialogue pop up. But, you know, mouse overs don't work very well with dialogues, because dialogues sort of take control of everything. So then really all that's left is mouse click, which is fine because mouse click is like more bulletproof, has more options, but I do want mouse over. So anyways, that is that. 33 minutes. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.